Welcome back to another episode of the Punch Out Podcast. I've got Alex Faedo here, Detroit Tigers prospect, somebody that I played against during college my freshman year. He was at the University of Florida. Really successful years all throughout his 3 years at Florida before being drafted in the first round by the Detroit Tigers. Actually, even going back to high school, he was a Detroit Tigers 40th round selection out of high school, so he ended up the team that wanted him out of high school. They got him 4 years later out of college, or 3 years later, and he's joining the show today from Toledo, Ohio, the Tigers' alternate site. So, welcome to the show, Alex. Thanks for being here.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
It's kind of a small world how these things all got put together. I just was kind of telling you a story off camera before we started with how it all, I remembered that name as soon as I saw you, pitching at Florida and then eventually winning the College World Series in 2017, being the World Series MVP there. How was it playing at the University of Florida? I know a lot of people from the outside looking in, one of the top programs in college baseball. So what was that experience like for you?
I mean, it was a hell of a time. I never was like a diehard college sports fan, but I always kind of grew up a Florida Gator fan. I mean, it was just that was one big thing for me in that whole process when I did get the opportunity. Because I was late getting offered by all the universities. So when I got to see the University of Florida, that one kind of always stood out. I mean, being able to throw in front of, TV, going to the World Series 3 times, being close enough to home to have my family come and watch. I mean, it was a no-brainer, and, we did a lot of special things there. I got to meet a lot of really good players and really good people, and, it was a great 3 years.
And speaking of great players too, we kind of look back at the 2015 roster when I played against you guys, and I mean, you guys had first-round picks basically the whole weekend rotation that the University of Maine stacked up against was Logan Shore, AJ Puck, and Dane Dunning, all guys that are Dane Dunning and AJ Puck already have big league time, but Logan Shore's right there with the Tigers and yourself. There was, I think, a couple of bullpen guys, maybe, and as well as Richie Martin, Buddy Reed. I mean, you guys had, it seems like for a couple of years there, everything was rolling right. And have you got to connect with some of the Florida guys once you kind of got into minor league baseball?
Yeah, I mean, we talk. It's more like we're all good friends. Like when we see each other, we pick back up where we left off. I think everyone's kind of doing their own things. We're all becoming adults. A lot of the guys, I mean, some people are married with kids. I mean, stuff like that. It's hard to keep up with people every single day, but we always had that special bond. Those games we went through, all the practices, the tough workouts. So whenever we do get a chance to see each other, I mean, it's always a blast. But I mean, it was awesome getting to play with all those talented dudes. I think that made me so much better of a teammate and player. Just, the iron sharpens iron mentality. Every time you went out there, you knew someone could take your job, but that wasn't really our attitude out there. It was just trying to get each other better. And, we won a lot of games because of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that even, from the outside perspective, just when we, from speaking from somebody on the away team side, when you roll in there, just the environment, the atmosphere is just different, like you guys, went about your business. I mean, just like, all D1 colleges do, you're there to, it's a business trip when you're going on the road to play baseball games. So, it was just different, you could tell your guys were talented, and, you put a beating on us. Not the game that I pitched. I'll give myself that a little bit, but it was so cool to see. Like, I'm pretty sure, you had. It seemed like almost every dude was running it up 95 plus, and just some special talents that ended up there, and that's why you had those World Series trips. So I want to hear more about the TD Ameritrade, all the cool stuff in Omaha. You want to take me through that a little bit?
Yeah, I'll try to go down memory lane a little bit. So the World Series, I mean, the College World Series it's hard to explain because like you just get there's just this crazy vibe. Like everyone's there, like even the fans and stuff, they're just there to respect like good baseball. So they have like tents and stuff outside. They have a whole bunch of things like bars, a lot of fan friendly events going on to where like there's still thousands of people that aren't even inside of the stadium, and it holds damn near 30,000. So like you could just be walking around like, hey, I want to go to another team's game, watch like LSU and TCU play or something, and like people will know who you are, like taking pictures, signing stuff, and like you just feel like you're like a celebrity. And so I mean, you can experience all that, and then but when you're playing in it, there's nothing like winning a game at the World Series. Like you have cameras everywhere, you're on ESPN, you're this that, like it's a dream come true. I mean, I figure it's got to be, just like, I mean, I know all the attention's on you, but so you get it, you feel a lot of love there. But I mean, I hope I get to play in the big leagues because it's probably even better there.
I could imagine, and especially, I mean, 2020, we'll just skip that year, but I'm sure when you got 50,000 all screaming for you in Detroit, I'm sure that's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, I know. I've been dreaming of that for a couple years now.
That's pretty great. I think the whole Omaha experience is something that everybody should go out to. And you were telling me
Hmm.
before, like even as a fan, it's a blast to be out there. And I think there'll be some trips in the future. I'll be headed out there.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be cool for you to go back as a 2017 World Series MVP. Did you see that coming at all? I mean, you carved people up, but were you expecting the MVP?
Honestly, no, just because whenever we'd lose the years before or get knocked out, it wasn't like I was watching the other teams play. Like I was pissed. I didn't want to watch, the final game. So I honestly didn't even know there was a most outstanding player. So when they like called me over after the game, and I didn't pitch in the final series because I would have ended up having to throw game 3 at some point. And so we won the first two. So when they called me over, I thought they wanted me to do some kind of like speech or something because they had a microphone. And I was like, no, I don't want to do this. I wasn't even a part of these games. And they start handing me this heavy trophy. And like this trophy, I promise you, is like 60, 70 pounds. Like it's ridiculous. And like it really surprised me. But it's such an honor just knowing, because that's our first national championship that our school's ever gotten in baseball. And so to be, a part of that and have my name as the first ever most outstanding players, it's such an honor because I know there'll be more hopefully in the near future at the University of Florida. But to always kind of like mark my name there.
That's pretty great. And being a Florida guy yourself, you grew up just outside of Tampa. What was baseball like growing up in Florida? I know there's sometimes a stigma around the warm weather climates that you guys play baseball all year round, but what was it like growing up in Florida playing baseball? I don't know if you were a travel ball guy or kind of how much baseball you kind of played growing up, but what was it like? There's so much good talent in that area, in the whole state of Florida, really the whole South. What was it like growing up down there?
Yeah, I mean, baseball was awesome. I mean, so much talent from a young age. Like I always felt like I was like the 7 or 8 hole hitter growing up, and I never pitched, just very rarely. Um, by the time I got to high school, we had a really good team. We won the state championship my freshman year, so there's a lot of expectation. We got to play against guys like Pete Alonso in our district, Kyle Tucker, Jake Woodford, Tyler Danish. A ton of guys that are in the big leagues already that were just in our district. And I mean, Lance McCullers was right down the street. Jose Fernandez went to our college. So like, there was just so many big names. Like there was so much talent, and I never would have expected to even play pro ball against those guys. But I started pitching in my junior year of high school, kind of coming out of the bullpen, and that kind of was a little spark for me because I mean I didn't think I was going to play college at all after high school, maybe community college or something. And then I was able to just kind of jump on the scene a little bit, and then kind of just went from there. But then, being able to pitch and not be the 8 hole hitter was a lot more fun.
I bet going from the bottom of the order to the top of the rotation, I'm sure that was pretty sweet. The
Oh yeah, it's so nice.
That's awesome. Growing up, were you kind of always a pitcher, kind of doing both? Like you said, you were kind of a late bloomer coming into your own with pitching. Was it something
Mm.
that the velocity just came later after you gained some weight or got bigger? What was that kind of like with how your pitching trajectory went over the whole time?
I always thought I was a pretty decent pitcher. Like, kind of like didn't I was very lazy growing up, very out of shape, stuff like that. But I always felt like I could throw strikes, and I think that's the biggest thing when you're growing up. And always could spin the ball decently well. But my dad always kept a close eye on me. Like he always was like one of our coaches, stuff like that. And he didn't want maybe that 12-year-old kid that blew out because he had to throw and try to win every tournament. And so every once in a while I'd throw, but then I kind of had an arm problem in middle school. So he was just, you're done. Like, you're not going to be pitching. Like, let's worry about other stuff. And it was just very rare, like once or twice a year I'd throw after that. And then it was just kind of random. I think we just needed pitching. It was the first time my junior year that we needed pitching at my high school. So I just kind of had to do it.
That's awesome. And I feel like I don't know, if you're somebody that sees a guy land at the University of Florida, or it could be any like big school, you would kind of normally think that, oh, this guy's been the cream of the crop for forever. You kind of,
Which most of those guys are.
yeah.
They're all
So,
really good.
yeah, and it's kind of a different thing where everybody kind of comes into their own differently, and it's kind of neat that you said you've had a feel to spin the ball at least, from a young age. Is that something that you kind of consciously were like always, messing around with breaking balls at a younger age? I know the slider is your go-to right now. How did that kind of develop for you?
I'm really not sure. I know my dad taught me how to throw a breaking ball, and like he was like, "You're allowed to throw like 5 of these in each bullpen or something like that." And I would just
That's
sneak
the
them in
best.
on games. Yeah, when games that he wasn't there, I would just rip like 40 of them. He'd get so mad at me, but I was like, whatever. And because that'd be the only time I'd ever punch people out was when I could throw breaking balls. And then, but I mean, I really don't know what it was. I think I got really lucky. I think I started working harder. I think that's the biggest thing. I think that, I mean, everyone has their own path, like their own little story. I was really lazy, and I guess like once I kind of figured that I was doing better at pitching, then I was like, oh, I might as well work hard at that because I don't want to like embarrass myself at that. And then every year I feel like I get more and more dedicated to the game, and like especially since like once I got to college, like you really have to work on your game because there's just so many good players on your team that you have to you have to pitch with, and then guys you're playing against are really good too.
Absolutely. The whole thing with all the Florida guys, like it seemed like your whole team was, like you said, you played against Pete Alonso. He was your teammate at Florida for a while. And was it something when you got to Florida, did you see your velocity jump, like your stuff kind of played up a little bit better? Like what was the transition like going from high school, jumping all the way up to Florida, where you ended up starting some games in SEC play your freshman year?
Yeah, my I I kind of jumped in velocity that summer going into my senior year of high school, and that kind of dropped down a little bit. Like was more back to like pitching around 90, and then when I was at my freshman year, it was the same way. My sophomore year, I took a nice jump where I started to sit a couple ticks higher, and then I've kind of ever since been just like more, lower 90s guy. But I mean, I think that was just some repetition of throwing and just like working out, and then starting to like actually like take care of my business, and like not throwing a couple of days a week, and like actually like focusing on throwing programs and health and eating the right way, and stretching.
Totally. And I'm sure the Detroit Tigers have a hand in helping, all that as the transition from college to pro ball happens. And
Mm-hmm.
kind of going back into high school for a second, you were drafted by the Tigers in 2014 out of high school, late rounds, and they ended up taking you again in the first round, your junior year at Florida after that season. What's that been like with the Tigers and the scout that you talked to? Like, did you end up the same guy from high school talking to you again in college? What was that like?
I never talked to scouts, so I think I've had like one scout meeting ever with the Tigers. In high school, I did like 2 or 3 home visits with just some random teams, and I did not want to sign out of high school. I wanted to go to college really bad. I think I need that for development. I just wasn't ready at all. And then out of college, I just focused. My whole entire focus was winning, winning, winning. Don't worry about getting drafted. I just wanted to win the national championship. And so I didn't take one scouting meeting. I didn't take besides like the week before the draft. I met with, I think it was like 3 teams or 4 teams at the field, and they were like 20 minutes each, and that was just very like vague stuff. But that wasn't like a big concern of mine. I think Tigers drafting me for the second time was was really cool, and it makes me want to play for the organization so much more. Just showing that they gave me a chance twice, but I didn't have any relationship that was like different with them than anyone else.
That's kind of cool. I feel like a lot of guys, I mean, let alone don't get drafted once, but you got it twice. That must
Hmm.
be pretty awesome. And
Oh yeah, it was so cool.
even to now getting up to, the higher levels of the minor leagues and, just kind of making the transition were the Tigers different in any ways, or kind of what I'm getting at is what were the kind of differences in pro ball? Maybe you expected things to be one way and they were another. Was there something that kind of jumped out at you when you first got into the pro ball?
Well, I had such a weird start from not throwing that first half season. I kind of just got thrown right into high A, and that was really good talent. I don't think there is a huge transition between the SEC and these games that we play. I mean, it's just just more depth in the lineups. Like every guy's trying to do their own thing. It's not just one. Hey, this is your approach. Your college coach saying, hey, this is how we're going to attack this guy. So like if I'm in college and I figure that out, then you talk to Sully or pitching coach someone and hey, this is what they're trying to do. Bang, you can tackle everyone the same way. But then once you go to pro ball, you have to actually like kind of learn the game within the game. Where hey, this guy's trying to do this to me. This guy's this kind of hitter. You start learning the scouting reports, which the Tigers have helped a lot about. And they were doing more and more with the analytics part of the game. I knew nothing about that, so I definitely am. I definitely don't know. I'm not the most knowledgeable on that, but I'm learning each and every day. And I mean, the Tigers are really doing a good job with that, and all the pitchers in our organization are growing because of it.
No doubt. And I think, just from watching from afar with, the amount of prospects and things that the Tigers are starting to make some noise, it's been cool to watch. And I feel like you're going to be at a part of it here not too long where you'll be able to contribute at the major league level and really show that slider off that, this pitch that's kind of carried you all the way through. And do you have a baseball nearby? Maybe we can
Yeah, I got one for you.
from you, because that's kind of been the cool
Yeah,
thing is, everybody throws it differently. I kind of feel like there's kind of a few different ways to go about it, but I'd love
yeah. I mean, I'm pretty generic, honestly. So with my breaking ball, I kind of just hold it like just like right there. Like if I want to kind of get more depth, I move up on it, down on it. But then my thumb's just kind of on the other lace here, so I don't know if that gives a good angle.
yeah.
But yeah, just kind of on the horseshoe. Honestly, it's pretty generic. I really try to kind of cock my like thumb down a little bit, like when I bring out of my glove, and I just try to like rip the top of the ball like as hard as I can, like the front of it.
Yep.
And I'm not gonna lie, I really do try to think like 12-6 curveball. And if you look at the Edgertronic camera, when I throw, it comes off like this and spins like at a complete gyro spin. So I don't know how it does that. I think by me trying to really get on top of the ball kind of helps get me like that extra tilt on it, which kind of makes it my own pitch. But my spin efficiency is really low on it, and I spin it a lot. So it's kind of cool to be like, oh, that's kind of my own little thing.
That's pretty unique too. And like you said, the grip doesn't have to be something really complex or,
Yeah.
you see everybody's got a different grip or working it, but generally, it's good that you talked about, the arm speed, trying to rip the front of the ball. I feel like sometimes kids want to make it move and they'll kind of like
Mm-hmm.
turn their wrist instead of just like trusting it, let the fingers get in front and snap it out like that.
Mm-hmm.
And what
Yeah, I don't think like everyone always says, oh, it's bad for your arm, because you like, but you really don't. I try to keep like that really stiff wrist, and I feel like I never feel it in my arm, like, which
yeah,
I mean, hopefully I never do. I mean,
no,
but
absolutely.
yeah, no, like everyone thinks, yeah, it's not that. It's just getting
Everything's
on top of the ball.
curveball. You got to, make
Yeah.
make it curve. No. And it was
Mm-hmm.
funny you say that because I was talking with Tom House, last week, and he did a demonstration where you hold your hand out and you like karate chop it, basically.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, that's not hard on your arm at all. As soon as you twist it, your hand, and it like,
Yeah.
that's when it
So
gets hard when you're trying
and that makes sense too, because I got told to try to throw. My dad told me to try to throw a water bottle to where it like flips,
yeah,
like that.
end over
That's
end.
always been my thought, which is like try to throw a water bottle. And every day is a little different, but like I mean, really, it's nothing. Pitching is actually the less you think about it, sometimes it's better. Like especially for young people that watch, like you want to do all these crazy things, but really if you feel comfortable with the pitch, then like you're going to be able to like grow with it. Like you try to hold these things and squeeze this and do that, then you're kind of taken away from the feel of the game. And when you're out there pitching in a real game, like you need the feel, you need to make those in-game adjustments.
Yeah, and you can almost kind of run yourself down the path of paralysis by analysis. If you have 700 different cues rolling through your head on, oh, I need to lift my leg here and then
Mm-hmm.
hinge and
Yeah,
spin.
and we all do that. Like you have to have the mechanics, but like once it's game time, you just go. Like you can't think about that stuff.
No doubt. And I think, everybody will have little keys to check in on. If my ball is flying up arm side, I probably
Mm-hmm.
front shoulder, my head probably was pulling a little bit. There's always different
Yeah.
checkpoints that you can kind of stop back in and kind of just evaluate where you're at in game. But the adjustments in game, are you making adjustments typically when you're a starting pitcher, you see a guy the second time around, maybe the first time he jumped you, is that something that you're kind of conscious of, you and your catcher as you're going through things?
Yeah, for sure. I think the one thing I got to do, I think since I hit for so long, which can help and hurt me. I think sometimes I try to think so much like as if I'm hitting that sometimes it almost hurts me because like sometimes I talk to Jake Rogers, a good buddy of mine that's a good catcher in our organization, and he'll be telling me, hey, like, why did you not want to throw another breaking ball to this guy? He can't see it. I'm like, well, if I was hitting, I wouldn't want to get beat by the breaking ball again. Like, I'd try to blow his doors off, like, go up on him. Like, if he can't see it, he can't see it. Like, and I'm like, I guess you're right. Like, so sometimes I need to not be so cute. Just, what you see is actually what's happening. So I'm learning about that. But there's a lot of adjustments. I think that's what makes really like pitchers a difference maker in pitchers because, when anyone, especially once you get to higher levels of the minor leagues, any guy can, once he's on his game, like he's gonna be tough to score runs off. He's gonna throw 6, 7 innings of good baseball, punch out a lot of guys. But it's like the guys that don't have it all that day and they're still able to keep their team in the game, win games, and still be able to compete are the guys that are gonna have a longer career.
Absolutely. And the ones that, and I feel like this might be kind of phasing out of the game a little bit, but the starting pitcher that can go 6, 7 innings, eat up some innings, kind of save the bullpen for a day. I feel like those are the guys that also kind of become more valuable to the organization too, because the bullpen gets a
Oh
rest.
yeah.
Every fifth day, the guy's going to be out there. It's kind of the type of
Yeah. I
where,
mean, and also you're losing out on so many late inning games, especially in the playoffs now. Like it hurts so much because like I mean I want to go out there and pitch deep into games and like I know like your coach needs to trust you, so like you're gonna be able, you have to do it consistently for your manager to be like, hey, like I trust this guy going out there with 100 pitches, to go into the seventh, and that's what you want. Like I don't want to pitch 5 innings in a playoff game, hopefully down the road. I want to get through the game and hand the ball off to the closer. I mean I want to finish it, but
right, right.
but just hand the ball to the closer and everyone be like, he gave us a really good chance to win. Now, you go to 5 innings, the bullpen still has to pick up 4, and you have a 7-game series. These guys are going to keep seeing the bullpen. Like you have to do a better job at, you can punch guys out. Everyone wants to punch everyone out, but we got to also punch guys out and stay inside the zone. And, try to get some weak contact.
Yeah, and like you said, that's kind of how you get deeper in the games too. Is
Mm-hmm.
maybe the sixth hitter in the second inning, you get him on 2 pitches, save yourself a couple. And
Yeah.
what's kind of the pitch or the sequence maybe that you go to, or you don't have to give away all your secrets here, but is
I
there
don't have
something
many secrets.
it's all out there? Is there something that you like to go to maybe early in counts, or maybe something that has been working for you?
No, I mean, I know I always like to go back to my breaking ball and, any situations that are in need. Like I definitely want to pitch off my fastball. I still want to throw, at least like 50, 55% of heaters, even if I throw a lot of breaking balls, because I think that's what makes my pitches better. Is they got to respect fastballs. I got to do a better job inside in the zone to righties. I already know that. But usually, I mean, just changing the elevations. Like if you can get a fastball up and a breaking ball down, like they play off each other. So I mean, I guess that like it's just really about seeing what the hitter does with your pitches. And I'm trying to learn a lot is like you want to set up your pitches. So like, oh yeah, I can go like up and in here and down away, but like or like double and stuff like that. But it's really easy to think of until you. It's hard to execute every pitch. So like even if I'm supposed to go up and in, I go down and away. Well, I can pitch off that down and away pitch now. Like I don't need to try to go back up and in. So it's just about like I need to be. I'm trying to learn to do a better job at pitching off pitches, even if it's not like where I initially wanted to start the hitter or how I wanted to attack the hitter.
Yeah, yeah,
If
and
that makes much sense. I've been rambling a lot lately. I haven't been pitching very much lately, so my brain's all over the place right now about being on the mound.
no, I got you, and so much of it too is kind of not falling into patterns, right? And
Hmm.
with all the scouting reports and things that the analytics are getting into baseball more and more, you don't really want to fall into patterns. And I'm sure,
Hmm.
um, you were kind of thinking along as a hitter sometimes. If that fastball is always up and in, and you
Hmm.
always go in, away,
Yeah.
guys might pick up on that. So like you said, that's where you double it up. You're the one holding the ball. The hitter's got to respond to what you're doing. So,
Hmm.
I think a lot of it is, finding what is best for you. And I always try to tell people, especially young kids, like, get your fastball inside in the zone, and then everything will play off of that. If you can throw your fastball inside to hitters and land breaking balls for strikes, you're going to
Hmm.
be just fine, because they'll have to respect your fastball because you're showing it in on them, which for most hitters is the hardest pitch to hit. And then you've got the breaking ball that they got to respect for a strike too. And developing that third pitch, down the road, whether it's a changeup or anything like that, just goes into, you know, as a pitching prospect and a starting pitcher, do you feel like you kind of have to have multiple pitches for different times in the order, or kind of what's that like for you?
Um, I mean, I really think you just kind of go whatever's your best pitch. You gotta know yourself. You do have to know the scouting report on the other teams, but at the same time, if the scouting report on the other team is fastball ends and changeups or something like that, and that's your worst thing you can do. Like, yeah, you're gonna have to try to do it, but at the same time, like, don't walk four guys because you can't locate in that day and you can't throw your changeup. Like, you still have to remember who you are, and then work with that because like ultimately you've had a lot of success growing, like getting to this point in your career of doing certain things. Like you can always kind of go back to that, but that's where you can grow as a pitcher. But so don't fall into the numbers too much, but there are very good resource to have. Like sometimes it's really nice to see that a righty doesn't hit well righty changeups. You're like, oh crap, I can actually throw that to the guy today. Like so. I mean, it's nice. There's no end all be all with pitching. You just got to take everything, and then whatever you see. I think a lot has to do with you paying attention to the game.
Yep. Yeah, and as a starter, you get to watch the other days of the of your rotation. You only get to pitch once every 5 days, and so the other days you can kind of learn what the other team's up to. I'm sure you're
Mm.
up in the stands for one of them, charting or something like that. Kind of how that all
Yeah.
that much the fun stuff that goes into it that people don't see. But the 5 day rotation, is that something that you kind of adjusted well to coming in from college?
Yeah, it hasn't been too tough. Honestly, the toughest part is just throughout the season, you go through these phases where, because you go game, day off, bullpen. So that bullpen sometimes will really get you. You have like a long game or a stressful game. A lot of stressful pitches. Sometimes that bullpen, you're like, damn, I want to get my work in, but should I take this one a little lighter? So that day sometimes it makes you think like, damn, am I gonna be ready for the fifth day? But then whenever you get to the fifth day, regardless, you're always gonna be feeling good again. Especially when you get the ball, you don't feel nothing.
Exactly. A
But
little adrenaline never hurt.
yeah, it's nice though. It's nice when if you're not throwing well because you can keep getting back out there, and then and then when you are throwing well, it feels like you've been, I'm back up there again. Like let's go. But yeah, I like the 5 day. I mean, I don't like charting though. We do a lot of charting. That and the rotation or that doesn't really help. But you gotta really love pitching. You gotta love getting off the mound and not be lazy with that because it feels like you really are on the mound every other day. So it does feel like a lot sometimes. But you gotta really take care of your body, do all your shoulder program, working out, eating right, and that really does make a big difference. And I've been learning that along the way.
Yeah. And if there was something that you had to point to in your routine that you'd try to pass on to a younger kid, like what would, you know, a quick shoulder thing or something that you absolutely can't miss in your routine? Like, is there something that you want to share?
I think a big thing that helps me is long tossing, honestly. So I haven't found the perfect formula on my 5-day rotation. Sometimes you feel great for a couple weeks. Sometimes you do the same thing, you feel crappy. But I mean, I always want a long toss at some point within the 5 days because I want to be able to feel like my arm stretches out, still feel like I'm trying to like strengthen my arm. Some guys can throw to 90 feet, but that's just learning who you are. But that's been big for me. My first year, I didn't do a good job at that just because I was like, man, my arm's kind of getting tired. I don't want to like 5 days not used to this, just kind of like creating this own narrative in my head. But then last year, I was like, hey, I can long toss, like I can deal with that, and I think that helped keep my arm strength on a lot better throughout the whole season.
Yeah, I mean, the long toss is a great tool to build up your arm strength and kind of like fill in the missing pieces as far as,
Hmm.
from day to day. Long toss for you might mean, 250 feet, where another guy is only going 180, or,
Yeah.
there's
And
never
your
a,
intent makes a difference too. Like you can long toss. Oh, I feel like sore day, but I know I like long toss in this day. Just don't throw as hard,
right.
But like, just try to keep your routines kind of where you like them.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you the type of guy with long toss that you like to really like air it out, get some air under it? Or are you kind of somebody that kind of keeps it on the line a little bit?
I like to air it out like on the way out, and then on the way in, I do like to like pull down a lot though, because then I feel like if I keep airing out, I'm kind of behind. Like I'm kind of shooting the ball up, and I mean, I don't think that's bad, but when I come back in, I want to remember getting on top of the ball, getting on top. And I really think even if I don't feel like I can long toss 300 feet that day or something like that, where like I can't go as far. Oh, my arm strength is this, that. When I get back in, I always feel good and strong, and I feel like my pitches are almost more crisp because I started getting on top of the ball coming back in.
Yeah. And I think that's the type of thing where you don't want to lose that release point, like you talked about a little bit. You kind of
Hmm.
always want to have, a repeatable delivery, make sure all your pitches are moving like you want them to. And then you can kind of check the box, and you feel good about going into your next start where, oh, I've done all my stuff, got a lift in, got all my
Yeah.
throwing, and you're kind of ready to rock for that fifth day. So
Hmm.
everybody's different too. And like you said,
Oh yeah.
finding your own routine is huge.
Yeah, because a lot of people, I mean, you're gonna, especially in pro ball, like they're gonna have their routines for you, and like you don't just be like very close minded to that stuff. They're trying to help you, but at the same time, if you know something works for you, try to blend things together. And like it's all that's what minor league baseball is all about, is development. Just trying to prepare you in all aspects of the game for getting when you hopefully, because you got to perform still, get to the big leagues, and then what kind of pitcher you are, how to do these things that we're talking about, and then you can perform at your best.
Absolutely. Have there been any big leaguers to this date that maybe have taken you under your wing a little bit? Whether it was at spring training or something like that, where you kind of been able to learn a little bit from those guys?
Yeah, I mean, from day one, I went to high school. My dad was the coach, my high school, for Jose Fernandez, so he took me under his wing immediately, and he was, always so great to me, like a big brother. So watching him pitch and watch how he worked every day really, really kind of slapped me in the face on if I want to make, you know, a career out of this, if I want to do something special, and play at the University of Florida, get drafted, play professional baseball, I have to work hard like him. And so he was always my day one guy like that. Since I've been with the Tigers, I mean, honestly, the guys have been so good to us. I see them for a couple weeks in spring training. Try not to ask too many questions, but position players, pitchers like Boyd, Zimmerman, Turnbull. I mean, crap, Miggy's one of the best hitters of all time. And I mean, he'll still talk to me like, I mean, it's not like, oh, this guy's a non-roster guy at camp. Like these guys are all like, they'll take anyone. If I want to be like go sit next to Miggy during foam rolling and talk to him, he'll talk to me about baseball, talk to me about anything. So I mean, we have a really good group of guys, and I think that camaraderie we have, especially, is going to start to show up in the next couple of years. It's already showing up right now. I mean, damn, our team's only a couple games out of the wild card, and we've had some injuries. We got guys on. We got Michael Fulmer on a pitch limit. He has to go 3 innings because he's coming back from surgery. He's a hell of a pitcher. We got a whole bunch of guys, and we're still hanging around, playing really good baseball. And I think it's the more we play together, and the more we grow that bond. That camaraderie is going to be huge for us.
I agree. You're the team of the future for sure. What's kind of the thing been like, a day to day at the alternate site? I feel like the common fan, parent or kid just watching along, you hear on the broadcast, oh, at the alternate site, they send somebody back down. Like, what's it like down there day to day? What kind of goes on?
Yeah. Um, so for the normal guy, I mean, really, we got stretch either or the field will open at like 10 or 12, and every other day we do like a spit test to make sure we're COVID free, stuff like that. Couple hours until stretch, so you can get your foam rolling in, you can work out, you can eat. We have food there, so you can do whatever you really want till then. If some guys will have early work in the cages, get fly balls, stuff like that. Really, we go out there, guys throw, run. That's on the pitching side. The hitters will hit some BP, take some ground balls, and then I don't know how long that usually goes on for, maybe an hour, 2 hours or something like that. And then eventually we have usually we have a scrimmage. It just depends on how many innings for that day, but could be as little as just one inning, two relievers going at each other to, 6 or 7 innings. And we have guys, we got some really good hitters and really good pitchers out there going at it each and every day. And it's pretty cool to see because a lot of guys I think are learning about themselves because they're facing really good talent, but facing, like, for instance, our pitchers are facing the same hitters every single time. So like these guys know what they got. So now they're trying not reinvent themselves, but, add pieces to their game because, these guys know what's coming now, how your stuff works. And so I think a lot of guys are growing from this, and maybe not a lot of dudes will see it immediately now, but they're going to be way more comfortable going into next season as a whole pitching, against other teams that haven't seen them.
Absolutely. Give them a different look each
Hmm.
time out. Yeah, I think that's a huge thing. I want to get your thoughts on like an off-season throwing program, or kind of what if you could offer any recommendations, or kind of what that you did or what you would do maybe in a season like this if you're a high school player, maybe somebody who had little inconsistency in their season, this year, kind of getting into the winter, or any message kind of going into next season. What would that be?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of throwing year round, even if it's like a couple of times a week, just light catch, just keeping your arm moving. I think that it always hurts me the most when I take off time. I've noticed that when I take off time, usually it takes me the longest to get back, and it takes me a while to be sharp again. So, I mean, if your season's canceled, I think you should got to be keep throwing. Even though there's no baseball, like you can still work and get some things better. And even if you're only throwing bullpens, I can't see you throwing bullpens for a whole off season or something. One or two a week, or split it up. Like it shouldn't be that taxing on your arm. Take a couple weeks off before the season, and get it back going again. But I think a lot of kids are doing a really good job at finding parks to do like live ABs and stuff. I know down in Tampa, a lot of guys are working, since the beginning. A lot of guys are trying to get better. But I mean, I feel like there's always time. We're getting in the weight room. If you don't want to throw, if you want to take a couple of months off, you get in the weight room. Try to get a little bit stronger. But I think this time I thought was a really big. In the very beginning, COVID was my goal was to. A lot of people are probably gonna sit around and do nothing. This is my time to try to outwork them and get ahead of people. Around baseball in general. And unfortunate events happen, but I felt like I was getting there. I felt really comfortable going into spring training, going up to Detroit for the alternate or for the spring training 2.0, and I feel like that's got to be your mentality.
No doubt. I think that's the best way to handle it. Uh, and if you can kind of take pieces here and there, and kind of optimize what you're working with. If you're a high school kid that needs a breaking ball, focus on breaking
Yeah,
for your bullpens, and it's not gonna overcook your arm if you're once or twice a
yeah,
week bullpen. It's the type of thing
hmm,
where next high school season, next minor league season, next professional college season is going to be the most competitive season probably it's ever been,
yeah,
because kids have had so much time off to prepare, get ready, get ready, get ready. So I feel like next year especially, things are going to take off with
yeah.
see
I
way more
mean,
of your
yeah. If you're going into college next year and you got seniors that weren't going to be there that are now going to be there, so like, what are you going to do? Just roll over and be like, I'm in a red shirt like that? I mean, that's fine. That's not a big deal if you do, but I mean, you want to be out there and playing, so you want to try to work your way into that. I mean, those guys are going to get their shot. They've earned it, but, work your way in there by the end of the season and get some innings, and, you'll be ready to go for summer ball.
Absolutely. I feel like I might need to take a trip down to Tampa if things clear up a little bit and throw in the wintertime. I'm from Maine, so
Yeah, you should definitely do it. That'd be a lot of fun. We get
November.
after it.
Let's go. That'd be pretty sweet. I would love to come down and instead of throwing bullpens in indoors in December, I'd love to come down and soak up the sun a little bit.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice, man.
You'd probably be wearing a sweatshirt. I'd be down in a t-shirt, like
Oh no, it never gets cold anymore at all. Like it'll maybe get a little bit cold at night or something, but like you'll never have to wear a sweatshirt. Even in the off season when it's supposed to be winter, it's hot as crap down there.
I would love to come down. And if you ever want to come up to Maine, I don't know if winter is the time to do it, but you might end up some trips to Portland.
Did go to I've gone to Portland the last 2 years. It's a really fun city.
No doubt. That's the biggest city in Maine right there. I feel like it's got the most things happening. So that's kind of cool. We got to tour around a little bit, maybe.
Yeah. Really good food out there.
That's something sneaky about Portland is any kind of food that you want, it's there. So I know they take care of you guys a little bit. Feed me good stuff.
Yeah, they do.
What's been the worst bus trip so far?
That was Portland for sure.
See, I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, it's just off location so I started in the Florida State League, and I mean everything's a couple hours away, and then in the Eastern League we're usually like 6 to 8 hours from anyone that's like besides Akron, being in Erie, Pennsylvania, and then Erie to Portland's like 13 or 14 hours or something. So usually we get the next day off. So usually we get there at like 4 a.m. It's fun. It's awesome. Like the boys are all watching movies. We'll have our video games set up. It's a ton of fun. But we wake up. We get there at like 4 a.m. and then we're all like, all right, we're waking up by 10 or 11 because we want to go. We get our off day. We want to go out there and get some lobster and go see like cool stuff that that city has to offer. But it's a grind sometimes, those trips.
What's your favorite way to pass the time on the bus? We'll kind of wrap it with some rapid fire here. You a video game guy? You read some books? What's kind of like?
No, I can't read books on the bus. Honestly, I think it's just I hate when we get it going and everyone's kind of quiet. Like our best bus trips that go by the quickest are the ones where like everyone's kind of everyone's talking. We had a really good team last year about that, so everyone would have a lot of fun on the bus rides. Guys would be doing some crazy stuff, but it'd be a lot of fun, honestly. A lot of good memories made.
No doubt. I feel like it all depends on the crew that you have too. Like
exactly, yeah. How you're playing. We were winning a lot of games. We have a great manager last year. That was a great vibe.
Play a little Mafia in the back. I'm sure there's a whole game. You going through it all. That some of the college guys, pro guys listening to this will know what kind of goes on. But what's your favorite food? We'll hit with some lightning round here.
I'm a big sushi guy.
Wow, yeah. See, nothing wrong with that. Portland will hit you with some lobster, but sushi, something I got into recently. But sushi, what if you had to pick one roll that's your favorite, your go-to wherever you're going? What is that?
I'll always get a volcano roll because it just it's got so much stuff on the top. You don't even know if it's real or fake fish, but it always is a good display too.
Yep. Are you a coffee or tea guy?
More coffee, but I try not to drink too much coffee. Like, just depends on the day. And during the dog days of the season, usually we always stop at diners every morning. So give me a nice cup of Joe.
No doubt. What about if you had to choose between? Oh, there's so many I could hit you with, but soda, water.
Shoot them all.
Well, all right.
I'm a big water guy.
Yep. Some guys will. I've played with people that like literally will not drink water. They're going Gatorade, whatever they can get their hands on that's not water.
No, I literally only drink water, I think.
What's your favorite type of music? Like what's a pregame vibe for you?
I'll listen to anything, but usually just some usually some good like when I was in like middle school, high school, rap usually gets me going the most, and then sometimes some EDM house music's a nice little switch up.
Yep. If you had to read a book, I know you said you're not a big book guy. Is it going to be An actual book, or is it going to be on the tablet or something? What would that be?
No, real book, because eventually I'm gonna be a book guy. I do really like reading. I'm always like, okay, like let me go get on like COD or something like that, like play video games with my friend, or let's watch like the basketball game or something. I always want to have sports on, so I never really just sit down and read. But eventually, I'm gonna read, and I want to have all those books so then I can have like my own little like library at home.
No doubt. I can hit you with some recommendations. Like I've been getting bored, so I've got you. You can hit me up for some recommendations. But
Yeah, when I'm ready, I'll let you know.
and my last rapid fire. What's your video game of choice? You kind of already spilled the beans there, but what are you
Yeah, I mean,
days?
I played a ton of Fortnite. I'm finally after about 3 years of it, 3 years of grinding on it. I think it's been tough to me lately with the last couple updates. So I haven't been playing that as much, but I've been playing Warzone a lot lately, and I haven't been a Call of Duty fan since like Modern Warfare 2, and it's been a lot of fun. It's nice always to like rekindle with your friends from like high school, stuff like that. And you're like, oh my gosh, we used to play COD then, and now we play it again. And it's like, dude, we're really not doing anything with our lives. But I mean, I love NBA 2K. That's a must buy every single year. And then the new PGA Tour 2K21. That's actually a really fun game. So, and I'm learning how to golf. I'm getting better at it, but that it's actually really fun. You create your own little golfer. You can switch up his outfit, stuff like that.
I was gonna ask if MLB The Show came into the mix at all for you.
No, so I don't play PlayStation. I always was an Xbox guy. Now I've been playing on like a gaming laptop because I'm getting really nerdy with it. But so I never really. I used to play it a ton, but now that I feel like now that I had a chance to be like on the minor league like rosters during the game and stuff, I think that I would just get too pissed off at myself, like like I would throw a good pitch and then I'd get hit or something. I'd be like, dude, like my ratings are that bad, like you know what I mean? Like I'd probably get pissed off. Like I don't want to do that.
I always want to ask guys that they'd be in the video game what they would
It
say.
is really cool. It's honestly way cooler because my brother got like I have two younger brothers and one of my brothers got like a couple Snapchats like right when the game came out and was like, dude, I just faced your brother like in my minor league game or like I just picked him up and like that's way cooler because I know like that's got to make him feel cool like oh my brother's in a video game. But for me, nah, not that cool. I would just get mad at myself.
Yeah, why doesn't my fastball? I
Yeah,
see what you're saying.
like yeah, and then yeah, there's always something like I'll probably pitch like I probably have to like call him up from double A in the video game to pitch, and then next thing you know, I'm the liability. I got to send myself down. I don't want to make those decisions. It's horrible.
That's awesome. So I got one final. The NFL season here starts in a couple of days. You are you a fantasy football guy? Who are you taking with your first pick?
I am a fantasy football guy, and this is my first year ever for any team I've ever been a fan of since I grew up in Tampa and lived there. That my Bucks are supposed to be good.
I'm a
So I
Brady
mean,
guy. I'm a Brady guy. So
yeah, that's perfect. I've always respected him. I've never been a Brady hater, so it's really nice to actually see him. He actually lives like 5 minutes from me, so I'm gonna probably try to slide over there and bug him. But I mean, if I had the first pick, I would take McCaffrey, but I ended up having the fourth in both of mine, so I took Zeke. I like consistency. I think that's the biggest thing is trying to get guys that are going to get a lot of touches and be out there.
he's gonna run the show. That's pretty awesome,
Yeah,
man.
he's gonna get the ball.
No doubt. And hopefully your Bucks can play well this year. I know you're gonna love him. He was somebody I know. I'm from New England, and all my life has been Tom Brady. So
Yeah, I'm really excited.
take good care of him. He's
I'll try my best.
no, so I'll be following along. But it was great to do this and catch up and just connect for a little bit. So I'll have to hit you up in the off season. We can go
Yeah,
crack Tom Brady's house and throw some bullpens.
that'd be pretty fun. Well, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for reaching out, and I appreciate your page. It's always cool. I didn't really expect following your page to get an interview. I just like the good. I love going down the explore page and seeing good quality content, especially for pictures. And um, it was nice, seeing your stuff and kind of learning a lot about you, being a good guy.
I love to hear it, man. Spread the word. Maybe we'll get some more of your teammates
Yeah,
on. We'll get the whole
yeah,
Detroit Tigers, become a big fan of the page. So I,
sounds good.
I appreciate the love, man.
Yeah,
We'll
no
talk
problem.
soon.